Is this basically just mismanagement?
No, I think this is the result of a government having a very difficult legacy in terms of macroeconomic imbalances that were left by the previous administrations. And there is an important political restriction in order to apply the policies that are needed in order to correct those imbalances. So there is no clear recipe on how to get out of populism, right? Argentina is trying. They are starting going as slowly as possible, right, in order not to have a political backlash. That resulted to be insufficient, and the markets demanded more. And that's why, at the end of the day, they had to go to the IMF. And the result of going to the IMF is not only having now an important financial package at a very low rate, but also to have a more consistent policy mix. That as a result of the program that needs to be implemented in order to keep receiving the funds from the IMF.
There's no question that Mr. Macri came in, he had a tough job in front of him. At the time, though, it was thought that he really had a plan. A lot of the markets really believed in that plan, believed in the team around him. Do we still believe in the plan, or does he have a new plan?
The new plan is as a result of the agreement with the IMF, and this plan is more consistent in the sense that it looks for a faster fiscal consolidation, looking back to getting to the primary fiscal balance by 2020, and a more gradual inflation deceleration, but at the same time that is more credible. And on top of that, the chart that you showed also shows that there has been an important depreciation of the currency. That's the relief of the pressure of the currency. So it's difficult to make the case that the currency is overvalued today. And that, of course, gives a set of new initial conditions. So there is a new plan. It is more consistent, and that gives more credibility. Of course, now the challenge is going to be on the implementation. There is going to be a close monitoring by the IMF and the markets. And I think the main restriction still will be on the political front. Right. That is going to be the challenge.
So, Bruno, talk to us about the political front. His team has changed quite a bit, Bruno. Does Macri have more or less credibility now?
Well, I guess what we're experiencing in Argentina is the consequences of an excessive optimism, especially last year when Macri won the midterm elections. He publicly announced that the worst of the economic adjustment was over. That is clearly not the case. That said, he still has around 40% approval rating, which is pretty high for a president in Argentina. We have to remember that this is a coalition government that is in a minority in both houses of Congress, that doesn't control most provinces. So what the government will try to do now is to adjust expectations to try to accelerate as much of the economic adjustment as possible in order to be in a better shape next year when there are presidential and legislative elections in October.
So, Bruno, what I don't quite understand, though, is when Mr. Aranguren was the energy minister, he was all about helping YPF and oil companies try and become more profitable, draw investors in. Then he left, and the new guy's coming in, is not going to have that kind of track record. How does Macri make his reform and keep a business-friendly environment?
That's a fantastic question, and that's the thing. There's also a new industry minister. The thing is, at the same time, as Macri has to accelerate fiscal consolidation, he has to make sure that the social front is taken care of. Minister Aranguren did a terrific job in adjusting public utility bills to actual prices. The thing is, in this new era the government is entering, just adjusting public utility rates is not sustainable on the social front. While you're cutting public spending, you can't also increase what people have to pay for electricity, water.
Right.
So what they're trying to do, it's pretty difficult, but it's also sending signals to the business sector that the reforms will continue while at the same time keeping those reforms socially sustainable.